Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and a provincial order limiting attendance at public gatherings. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx, an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching it on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants are automatically muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. For all those who are waiting online, please ensure that you have called in with the phone number that you have originally registered with. If you call in with a different number, you will not be able to speak on the item. To ensure audio clarity, I also suggest that you refrain from using the speakerphone function on your telephones. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act, 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Alan Smithies, and I will chair today's meeting. Joining us on the panel today are Ron Hunt, Asif Khan, Paul Kidd, and Nadini Sankar Peralta. City staff are also present: Simon Lamb, Elmira Zarabi, and Adam Wills. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone attending today who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, because Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, it may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, LPAT. Appeal instructions are described at the bottom. Someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Khan, we've lost Mr. Khan's...
Mr. Chair, we've lost Mr. Khan's video and audio at this moment. We'll work to get it back.
We still have enough for a quorum, so that file is closed. 188 Keewatin Avenue, the file is closed. Our next item is number 48, 171 Points Avenue. I'm advised with respect to that particular application that city staff has expended city resources on it. It has gone through a hearing, I would say, Mr. Lamb, in your view, the applicant's not entitled to a refund? Okay, thank you. I'll just ask, we have no one registered to speak on this item, but just note that it's up to the committee to decide about whether a refund or not. Please note, though, that the city staff has expended considerable resources on this application. It has already gone for a hearing, and is my understanding that the application was refused. The application is now, asking for a full refund.
Mr. Chair, the application was not refused. It was a deferral.
Oh, I'm sorry. The application was deferred. Thank you. If I could get a motion on the closing and the refund, please. Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll put forward a motion to close this application. But the fact that we've already gone through a hearing, heard this, and deferred the application, I'm not willing to say that we should refund this. So 0 to a refund, but I'll put forward a motion to close the application.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Mr. Lamb, that file is closed without a refund. Thank you very much. We'll now proceed to our first item on the agenda. That is item number 155 Smooth Rose Court. I have one person registered to speak, and that is Mr. Jeff Solly. Are you there, sir?
Mr. Chair, if we could actually call upon Matthew Schuman to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Schuman, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I just wanted to ask, before we start, there were two reports from the city on this application, one from engineering and construction dated the 5th of November. They indicated they didn't have any objection to your application subject to the standard consent conditions. And there was a planning report of the 18th of November, which indicated that they had no objections either, and it was subject to their recommended consent conditions. Have you had the opportunity to read those two reports, sir?
Yes, sir. We've reviewed the reports. We're satisfied with staff comments, and I'm happy to elaborate or speak to any questions the committee may have. But
Thank you, sir. I'll just
happy to comply with the conditions.
Thank you, sir. I'll just refer back to the committee. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I note that there is no other speakers registered on this item. So if I could get a motion on this application, please. Ms. Sankar?
Through Mr. Chair, I'll motion to approve this application. I do believe it meets the 4 tests, and I'll subject it to the November 18th staff report and recommendations, which are the standard general recommendations.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to engineering and construction and city planning conditions. I wanted to mention that you also had, there was an issue on the agenda concerning a partial refund, and that issue will be dealt with, has been delegated to the Secretary Treasurer, and he'll be dealing with you directly on that, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, panel.
Thank you very much. We'll go to item number 2. 1213 York Mills Road. I have one person registered to speak, and Mr. Adam Brown. Mr. Brown, are you there, sir?
I am. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of committee.
Yes, thank you. Hi, Mr. Brown. I just wanted to ask, have you had there's a couple of reports here. There was a report from the Toronto Region and Conservation Authority dated the 27th of November. They had no objection to your application. And there was a report from City Planning dated the 18th of November, which indicates that it appears they have no objection to your application either, but they're recommending that prior to the issuance of a building permit, the owner enter into a Section 45-9 agreement with the city to secure a financial contribution in the amount of $507,275. $507,275,000. Have you had the opportunity to read that report, sir?
We did. We have consulted with staff, with the local councillor. We agree with the recommendations. And I think there's also a supplemental report that sort of slightly corrects variance number 11. Yeah, there it is. Okay.
Thanks,
Yes.
sir. And I also note that there was a report from Transportation Services dated the 26th of November that they have no objection to your application, subject to the implementation of subsequently approved transportation demand management measures. I'll just ask the committee members if they have any questions. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? We have no other persons registered to speak on this item. Any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on the application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, upon review of this application, I do believe that it meets the 4 tests. I see that the staff report recognizes that, and there's no transport or Forestry or TRC reports and no objections from the various neighbors and associations. So I'll motion to approve this application and make it subject to the November 18th staff report recommendations that you had cited earlier in the speech.
Okay, Mr. Lamb?
I just want to just clarify if that is the motion of reflecting the supplementary report.
Do we have the supplementary? I don't have that. Do we have a supplementary?
I emailed it to you.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't open it. There it is.
Amira could probably put it up.
So it would
Thank
be,
you. Then I will make it subject, I'll make an amendment, and it would not be subject to the November 18th staff report, but the December 1st, 2020 supplementary staff report.
Great. Thank you very much, Ms. Sankar. Can I get someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Khan, can you hear us? We have quorum anyway. That motion carries. Mr. Brown, your application has been approved subject to city planning and transportation services conditions.
Thanks so much, Mr. Chairman and members, and stay safe, healthy, and happy holidays to everyone.
You too,
Take care.
Mr. Brown. All the best. Item number 3, 107 Alfred Avenue. I have 3 persons registered to speak. The agent is a Joe Dome, D-O-M-B. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Sir, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Joe Dome, 1101 Steeles Avenue West, agent for the owner.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask before we start, have you had the opportunity to read the city planning report of the 20th of November? They indicate that they have no objections to your application, provided that the proposal is developed substantially in accordance.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, you've read that report. Thank you very much. If you could give us, sir, we have 2 other persons who want to comment on your application. So if you could give us a very brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Joe Dome, 1101 Steeles Avenue West. I'd like to begin by addressing the changes that have been made to the application after discussions with planning a couple of months ago. Planning comments, the side yard setbacks, variances 5 and 6, were increased from 1.2 meters to 1.53 meters, which are consistent with many setbacks on the street, including 105 and 109, and 111, 112, 115, for example. The overall height is 10 meters, satisfying the bylaw. The side main wall height, which refers to variances 3 and 4, was reduced from 8.5 meters to 8 meters. And this is consistent with approvals on the street, for example, at 164 and 174 Alfred, both of which have higher approved side main wall heights at 8.19 meters and 8.82 meters, respectively. And the third story variance, number 2, is technical in nature and will appear visually consistent with the streetscape as a 2-story dwelling. Planning agrees with this assessment as well, as stated in the planning staff report on file, and they have no objection to the variances proposed, as you mentioned. And 219 Hollywood Avenue, for example, the street directly north, is an actual 3-story dwelling that was approved. The rear deck variance pertains only to a half-meter portion extending into the rear yard setback, and the deck does not have a variance pertaining to height or side yard setback. And nevertheless, the owners would like to put privacy screening around the deck to mitigate any privacy concerns from 109 or 105. And the owners feel that the variances for the proposed dwelling are minor in nature, with very little additional impact over what can be built as of right. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll just go to the committee. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll move to our next person on the list. I have a Guy Tai Cho from 105 Alfred Avenue. Are you there, sir? Or madam?
Hi, yes,
Yes, hello, sir. Can I
thank
get your
you.
full name and address, please?
My name is Guy Jo, 105 Alfred Avenue, North York. Actually, Miss Monica are supposed to represent us because my English is not that the fluent to represent my ideas in my best way. So if Monica can represent us, then that will be the best to address my concerns.
Mr. Chair, if Mr. Guy Tai Cho would like, we can put Monica on to speak on behalf of the neighbors.
Yes, okay, that's fine. Ms. Monica Goyle, are you there, madam?
I am here. Good morning.
Yes, madam, can I
Mr.
get your
Chair.
full name and address, please?
Yes, my full name is Monica Goyle. Last name is Goyal. My address is 201 Queen Street East, Toronto, Ontario, M5A1S2.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you'd like to give us your views on this application?
Yeah, so actually, pursuant to my email late last night where I provided this letter, I was actually seeking an adjournment of today's hearing. I was just recently retained by the neighbors, both of the neighbors to the 107 Alfred, and not prepared to present or speak in opposition. Further, the parties have not, the neighbors have not had an opportunity to speak together and to discuss their concerns.
Okay, madam, the issue of whether the application is deferred is the choice that's made by the applicant. In terms of, we can refer that back to him when he comes on and see if he's prepared to defer the application, but if he's not, then the application at the pleasure of the committee would then proceed forward. So you have no comments to make on the application?
Well, can we please first canvass whether or not he is prepared to defer?
I will ask the applicant. Sir, are you there?
Yes.
You've heard the request to adjourn the application, I guess, for some consultation, or would you like to defer your application?
No, and frankly, we're not quite sure where that claim is coming from. That the two neighbors have not had an opportunity to consult. There was a letter that has been submitted to committee from Mrs. Uzelik, owner of 107, detailing the extensive communications that we had with both neighbors, especially next door at 109 and 105. As outlined in the letter, while every possible effort to address the concerns were made, ultimately the decision was made that further communications with 109 were no longer fruitful after a certain point in November. I am not sure where that claim is coming from, that they had not had an opportunity to consult. 105 was consulted as well, at a sit-down meeting. They've been consulted weeks in advance. Given the zoning notice and the plans. It's I'm not quite sure how that is a reasonable request for deferral.
Okay, I'll go back to Ms. Goyle. Madam, you've heard the applicant is not in favor of deferring his application. You've also heard that that being the case, if you have comments you want to make on the application, I suggest that you do it now.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So one thing is that my friend is talking about discussions that I was not privy to. The communication that I received from them this week where I tried to engage them with a discussion was, we won't communicate unless it's by writing. So they refused to have any kind of oral communication. And as you can see from the letter, I was just recently, received that letter from 105 and just recently retained by them. And from what I understand is that there has been, and maybe my friend will correct me, there hasn't been communication in regards with them and their concerns. So that is with respect to the deferral. Now, the challenge is that by forcing me to continue today to provide some submissions, I am doing so without the opportunity to really have a fulsome discussion with the neighbors to understand their concerns. And so, the concern, I think, for the committee would be that by doing so, that there might be, an appeal possibly if we continue today because of the rushed nature of this hearing.
Okay, thank you, Madam. I just wanted to ask, have you had the opportunity to read the city planning report that was filed in connection with this application?
I have not.
Okay, thank you. I'll just ask I'll ask the committee. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To the speaker, what was the date you were retained on this file?
So I was retained by so there's two neighbors, right? There's 109 Alfred and there's 105 Alfred. So 109 Alfred, I was retained last week and late last week, and the 105 Alfred, I was retained actually just yesterday, late yesterday.
Any further questions?
Okay. No, that's it.
Thank you. Any further questions of the speaker? We'll go back to Mr. Dome. Sir, are you there? You have the last word?
Yes. The claim that no presentation can be made on their part, that's just fairly strange, given that the extensive communications and everything that's been discussed, and the revisions that have been made to the application to be in line with planning. We can go over the letter from 105 point by point, but it essentially addresses concerns that I've already outlined in my presentation. And with the rear deck extending just half a meter further into the rear yard setback, there's no variance pertaining to height of the rear deck or even side yard setback. Privacy screening we're willing to put up there to alleviate any potential privacy concerns, but the deck is completely in line with 115 as shown in the supporting material. There's a photo at the rear that shows 115's deck. 109 has a raised deck. There are photos from the back of Hollywood Avenue that show raised decks all across the rear yards with level with basically 3 stories at the rear. Yes, if we scroll down in this document here, you can see from the front how the design for the proposed wetland coincides with what has already been built in that cul-de-sac. This is 109. That's the raised deck there. If we scroll down even further, that's 115. You can see the raised deck there without privacy screening. And at 107, we'd be willing to put up privacy screening to alleviate any potential concerns. Those are on Hollywood, showing that raised decks are common. And additionally, we have 22 letters of support as well that is attached in the file. And that demonstrates the extensive efforts that the owners of 107 have gone to talk to neighbors and to show them exactly what they're planning, and demonstrates the amount of support that has been generated. Unfortunately, 105 and 109, they were not able to get. They tried to come to they tried to come to some kind of reasonable discussion, but unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. And the changes that have been made, I think, are quite reasonable and and minor in nature.
Okay, thank you very much. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to ask the agent, and just in light of making sure that there was fair process, I see by the 22 letters of support that you have done quite a bit of consultation. And by looking at this application, to me, visually and upon review and from the staff report, it looks minor to me. But I just want to make sure that you can confirm you have gone through doing the adequate consultations, which would include the 2 properties that have been retained by council at this time. So if you can confirm that, then it will help me with my decision.
Sir, did you?
Yes, the owner, Mrs. Uzel. Sorry.
Sir, can you just, you heard
Sorry,
Ms.
the
Sankar's
owner-
questions?
That's right. Yes. The owner has had extensive conversations, as outlined in the letter, with 109 and even with 105 as well. None of the concerns in the letter from 105 were actually brought up during those meetings, but we have addressed those at the presentation today. The fact that what they're allowed to build as of right would essentially be the same concerns that they would be having as shown in the letter. Yes, I can confirm that the owner, Mrs. Uzelek, has had consultations with the 2 neighbors that have been retained, Mrs. Goyle.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ms. Sankar, did you get your question answered? Thank. Any further questions of the speaker? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just like to ask the applicant, can you give me roughly the date that you began your consultation that resulted in the 22 letters of support?
You mean the date that the letters of support were gathered?
Yes, just
the date that they were passed with the neighbors in the summertime. Approximately, I believe late summer, August.
okay. So this discussion with the neighbors has been ongoing for several months.
Yeah, basically from August until the first week of November.
Okay.
Okay,
All right. Thank you very much.
Any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on the application, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've listened to the applicant. I've looked at the different staff reports and the fact that there were 22 letters of support that began as the applicant indicated in August, and also the preemptive offer to provide privacy screening on the deck, which I think certainly mitigates some concerns with respect to privacy. I will move to approve this application subject to the staff report dated November 20th that says the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the section drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment. And the urban forestry letter of November 27th, which is generally their standard requirements.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second that condition? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to our urban forestry and city planning conditions. We'll now move on to item number 4, 23 Parfield Drive. I have one person registered to speak. That's Mike De Oliveira. Are you there, sir?
Hi, yes, I'm here. My name is Mike De Oliveira. I'm here representing 23 Parfield Drive. I'm with Replacement Design located at 911 Davenport Road.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think it's pretty clear what you're asking for. We have one variance before us relating to the west side yard setback. I noticed that there are no persons who have registered to speak on this item and that there are no staff comments or recommended conditions. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments, or if it would like a presentation. There being none, could I get a motion on the application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. It's a minor variation, so I would like to move it to be approved.
Thank you very much. Someone to second Mr. Khan's motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Mr. De Oliveira, your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Item number 454 St. Clements Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is a Drew Laszlo. Are you there?
I am indeed. Good morning.
Yes, hello, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Drew Laszlo, 3317 Young Street.
Thank you, sir. Pretty clear what you're asking for on the two variances we have before us, one for side yard setback and the other for the main wall height. I think the committee is pretty clear what you're asking for. I note that there are no staff comments or recommended conditions posted with this application. I'll just ask the committee if it has questions or comments or it would like a presentation. There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In my opinion, the requested variances are minor in nature. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application without condition.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Item number 6, 1 MOOREHILL Drive. I have a Julia Bork to speak on the item. I have no other persons registered. Ms. Burke, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yes, you did.
Can
Thank
I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, Julia Burke, 338 Waverly Road, Toronto, M4L 3T6.
Okay, thank you, madam. Just wanted to ask if you had the opportunity to read the city planning report of November 26th. They indicate that they have no objection to your application, provided that the proposal is developed substantially in accordance with the front yard setback as seen on the site plan drawing attached to their report. Have you had the opportunity to read that report, madam?
Yes, I have.
Okay, thank you.
And
I think it's pretty clear what the, in the two variances you're requesting, I think the committee's pretty clear on what you're asking for. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or it would like a presentation. There being none, could I get a motion, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I feel the requested variances are minor and appropriate for the neighborhood. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application subject to the planning staff condition that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the front yard setback as seen on the site plan attached to the city staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 7, 30 Millgate Crescent. I have one person registered to speak, an Alizada. I'll just hope I pronounced that correctly. Are you there? Alizada, are you there?
Mr. Chair and members, they are present. They are unmuted.
Okay, I'll just ask again. Mr. Alizada, are you there? I'm going to move to the next application. We'll come back to 30 Millgate Crescent later. Item number 8 is 125 Regina Avenue. I have 2 persons registered to speak. The agent, Nelson Espinola. Are you there, sir? Mr. Espinola, are you there?
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Espinola, are you there?
Yes, I am here, sir.
Can I get
Good
your
morning.
full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Nelson Espinola from 1726 St. Clair Avenue West, and I'm the agent for this application.
Okay, thank you, sir. I wanted to ask if you've had the opportunity to read the Transportation Services report of the 27th of November. They indicate that they have no objection to your application and the requested variances, provided that you put a notation on the plan indicating the site driveways that are no longer required, that are going to be closed and restored with soft landscaping and curbing. And they wanted you to reduce the portion of the driveway in the public right-of-way to a maximum width of 6 meters. Have you had the opportunity to read that report, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I've had the opportunity to read it, and we have no objections to what's being requested.
Okay, thank you. I have one other person registered to speak on this application, sir. So if you could give us, the committee, a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Basically, we're proposing to build a 2-story dwelling. We have a list of 6 variances, which relate to side yard setback, coverage, height, and width of driveway. I would like to point out that in terms of side yard setbacks and coverage, we're very much in keeping with what's been approved recently by the committee. There was an application at number 123 Regina, which is right beside us, which was approved with similar setbacks and coverage. In terms of building height, we do not comply with regards to the old zoning bylaw, and that's due to the fact that the crown of the road is actually 0.6 meters below the existing average grade. And this is why we have a variance in regards to height. But with regards to the new zoning bylaw, we are within the 10-meter maximum height. So I think that our variances are minor in nature, and again, in keeping with what's been approved in the area.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or of the speaker. No questions. I have one person registered to speak on this item. That's Maria Gentile. Are you there?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Hi, madam. Can you please give us your full name and address, please?
My name is Maria Gentile, and I live at 127 Regina Avenue, Toronto, M6A1R8.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you could give us your comments on this application.
Basically, I just have objection to the height and the length and also the coverage of the whole house. I live next door, and I've lived there for 47 years, which is most of my life, and I don't plan to move anytime soon. The house next door to me would be at least 3 times as big. My house is about 1,800, and I see that this proposed house will be 4,110 meters, square feet, pardon me. That would impede a great deal, especially because they would like to move the west side, their yard, closer to mine. We have a side patio on my east side, which is their west side. We use that patio quite frequently in the summer. My family enjoy the sun there. We've planted roses for 47 years. We've had these roses there. We also have a vegetable garden, which would be overshadowed, needless to say, by the length of the house and the size of the height of the house. we've always lived in the shadow of this big giant willow tree that they've had in their backyard. The former owner didn't exactly cut down any extra deciduous trees that grew. So the back of the property is full of these deciduous trees. The willow tree for years has been sucking the water out of our garden. For the first time, when they cut it in January, we breathed a sigh of relief. And for the first time in many years, we've had a decent crop of whatever vegetables we planted. So those are my objections. The overshadowing of our side patio would greatly limit our enjoyment of our backyard. The height would overshadow the morning sun. Nothing would come on our patio. Basically, that's what we have in opposition to this big giant house. It takes up most of the land, and it's too big for the size of the lot.
Okay, Madam.
Thank you.
I just wanted to mention that the height, there is no height variance under the new City of Toronto bylaw. The only height variance that they're asking for is related to an old North York bylaw that's effectively obsolete. I just don't know if you were aware of that. Other than the height that they're proposing currently complies with the new City of Toronto bylaw.
No, I did not know that.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to mention that. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, we'll go back to Mr. Espinola. Sir, are you there?
Again, in regards to height,
Yes, sir. Can you
already
you have
mentioned
the
that.
opportunity to address the concerns raised by the previous speaker?
Certainly. As I was saying, with regards to height, we are in compliance with the new zoning bylaw. And with regards to the old bylaw, as I mentioned previously, the crown of the road is presently 0.6 meters lower than the average grade. And this is the reason why we're not in compliance with the old zoning bylaw. With regards to the side yard setback, the existing house is presently located at 1.2 meters approximately. So we're not reducing the side yard setback. It's it's presently 1.2, and we're maintaining that side yard setback. With regards to length, we're slightly over, but for the most part, we are within the 17 meters. It's only that little one-story addition at the back that brings us over the 17 meters, but for the most part, we're within 17 meters.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll just ask the
Thank you.
committee, does it have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the concerns of the neighbor joining. I can sympathize with how difficult it can be to live in a neighborhood that's in transition. However, looking at the requested variances, I do feel that they are minor in nature and appropriate for the site. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application, subject to transportation services conditions previously read out by the chair and subject to the forestry conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously, sir. Your application has been approved subject to urban forestry and transportation services conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'll go back to item number 7, 30 Millgate Crescent. Mr. Alizadeh, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, thank you, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Ali Alizadeh, 30 Millgate Crescent, Norfolk, Ontario, and 2K106.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to mention there is a report from the TRCA, Toronto Region Conservation Authority, dated the 23rd of November, which indicates that they have no objections to your application, but I just want to make sure you're aware that they indicate that you'll need to file a new permit application for work in the rear yard. So I just wanted to make
Yes,
you
I am.
aware of that. In terms
Yes.
of, you have one variance before us, it's relating to the excavation below the front steps. We have no other persons registered to speak here, and no other municipal agencies have commented on your application. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or would like a presentation. There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Having listened to the presentation and the fact that there has been no concerns expressed, I would move that this application be accepted, subject to the TRCA requirement that a new permit application be submitted for the proposed changes to the hard landscaping in the rear yard.
Mr. Hunt, those aren't requirements that we imposed. That's just an advisory notice for the applicant.
All right. Okay, then I will simplify it and move approval in that I believe it meets the 4 tests of the zoning bylaw.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second Mr. Hunt's motion? Ms. Sankar? All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Item number 95775 Yonge Street. I have the agent to speak, John Nunziata. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair.
Yes, hi, sir. We have 2 other persons registered to speak on this application. If you could have one area resident, I guess one is the owner of the school that would like to locate in that building, but will you be speaking on Ms. Yang's behalf?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Ms. Yang is listed, she listed herself to speak in the event that the committee had any questions.
Oh, okay, thank you. Mr. Nunziata, if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see are the merits of your proposal.
Mr. Chair, before we go any further, I'd like to let you know that the area resident, Young Fang, is not present on the call.
Oh, he's not here. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. I've just been informed, Mr. Nunziata, that we have no persons registered to speak on your item. I note that we have a report from City Planning dated the 20th of November, which has no objections to the proposal. I'm just going to ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or would like a presentation. Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to understand a little bit more about the project, because the initial thought was it wasn't supposed to be zoned for this type of commercial use, but I'd like to hear what the agent would like to say about that.
Mr. Nunziata, did you hear Ms. Sankar's question?
Yes, I did.
If you could please proceed then.
Certainly. Anderson College, to begin, is a career college. They have 5 locations in Toronto, Mississauga and Hamilton, and they deliver a comprehensive range of applied education and training experiences to serve diverse learner choices and to meet labor market demands. Some of the courses that they teach that are in demand with regard to the pandemic, and that's why the provincial government, we've had conversations with the provincial government. There is a desperate need for personal support workers and medical laboratory technicians, and these are some of the courses that will be taught at 5775. Initially, the applicant, Anderson College, was told that there are no land use issues because the general zoning bylaw permits commercial schools. And then they came across the site-specific bylaw that was passed at the OMB in 1983, so 37 or 38 years ago. And it doesn't, the application says that commercial school is not permitted. Well, in fact, it's the nature of this application is not for a change in use, but to simply supplement the uses that are already permitted in the building. The uses permitted under bylaw 28572, and there's a copy listed there, are offices, business and professional offices, and professional medical offices. And we have had conversations with planning staff. The local councillor, John Fillion, has no issues with the application. And as the staff points out, planning staff in its report dated November 20th, they indicate that the base C1 zoning bylaw permits a range of uses, which includes commercial schools. And this area, this particular building is in the C1 zoning bylaw. They also point out in their report that this area, this location is a significant commercial node, being within the vicinity of Finch Station, located directly south of Yonge Street and Finch Avenue. Most overwhelming majority of career college students who are, for the most part, adults that are seeking a second career. A good number of them are benefit from provincial assistance with a second career program to assist with tuition. Planning staff goes on to indicate on page 2 that although commercial schools are not permitted under the site-specific bylaw, staff are of the opinion that the proposed use is compatible with the business and professional offices permitted by the base bylaw. And they go on to say that the proposed commercial school is permitted under the general C1 zoning bylaw. And then finally, they conclude that the proposed commercial school is in keeping with the intent and purpose of the North York Secondary Plan, as well as the intent and purpose of the site-specific bylaw number 28572 and base zoning. So in effect, the planning staff supports the application in that the 4 tests, Planning Act tests, are met. We also retained an independent planner, Michael Manette, and the 4-page report is also listed there. And he again indicates that the 4 tests are met, and that the proposed variance is minor and appropriate and represents good planning.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Nunziata. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Nunziata, since a school is not allowed in that particular zoning area, and you are asking for the school, now, number of staff and students coming in, I don't know how many staff will be there and student coming. Have you done any traffic studies that there will be no congestion and availability of free movement to the already office employees as well as the resident will not be affected?
No, no traffic study's been done, sir, but you indicated that a commercial school is not permitted in the area. In fact, Anderson College has a campus right across the street. So this will, some of the courses that are taught there, in particular the medical laboratory technician and the personal support workers, will also be taught at 5775. And in fact, there is a tunnel that connects that building, that 19-story building, to the subway. And as far as traffic is concerned, the overwhelming majority, as I indicated, of students, and that's the reason why career colleges often locate near subway stations, because most students take public transit, and also staff. I believe there'll be approximately staff working at 5775.
Okay, then,
The
thank you, Mr.
traffic is
Nunziata.
not an issue, and when the application was circulated with the various city departments, none of them came up with any issues, no objections.
Thank you, Mr. Nunziata. Any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much to the agent for doing that presentation and in looking further into what the staff report says and the planning consultation letter. I see no problem with this application. I'll motion to approve this application as is.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Mr. Nunziata, your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you very much, members.
Thank you. Item number 10, 6 Redmount Road. I have two people registered to speak. One is the agent, Brenda Eisen. Are you there, madam? Ms. Eisen, are you there?
Mr. Chair, members, Brenda is present and unmuted.
Okay. Ms. Eisen, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Of course. My name is Brenda Eisen, and I'm the architect representing 6 Redmount Road.
Okay, thank you, madam. I just wanted to ask, we have a report from Urban Forestry, which is recommending refusal of your application due to an impact on a bylaw protected tree, apparently a privately owned Siberian elm tree. And I just wanted to make you aware of that. I also have, you can make reference to that in your presentation. I also have a report from City Planning dated the 20th of November, where the Planning Department is recommending modifications to your application. And if you don't make those modifications, they're recommending the variances be refused. Now, have you had the opportunity to read that City Planning report of the 20th of November?
Yes, sir. We have reviewed both reports. We're in full agreement with the planning conditions, and I'll be elaborating on their changes in my presentation this morning.
Okay, if you could, are you proposing to make revisions to your application?
We are proposing 3 revisions per the suggestions from planning.
Can you please go through those revisions for the committee, please?
Yes. Is it possible if I start with a little bit of background on the project and then get to their report, or would you like me to start with them?
I think if you could just give us the revisions you're proposing to start with.
Sure.
Okay.
No problem. Okay, so for variance number 2, which is the west side yard setback,
Okay.
it was previously 1.2 meters on the west, consistent from front to back. We've revised the entire west wall so that it's now 1.45 at the front for the first 9.2 meters, and then it bumps out to 1.22 at the rear. So the variance should be changed to 1.22 meter side setback on the west side.
Okay, hang on just a second. So right now, it's the proposed west side yard setback is listed as proposed at 1.2 meters. So what you're proposing is
1.22.
1.22.
But to be tied with the November 17th drawings, because the shape of the west side of the house is altered.
Okay, hang on. It's because planning had listed variance number 2 as being modified.
Correct. So it's being increased from 1.2 to 1.22 meters.
No, they had it on their report as from 1.2 meters, as you have listed there, to 1.445 meters for the first 9.22 meters on the first and second floors and 1.22 meters towards the rear.
Correct.
So that variance would have to be changed to reflect that wording.
Sure, the variance can reflect that wording exactly. It is tied to a set of drawings which is attached to the staff report.
Okay.
And it describes what's shown in those drawings.
I think it has to read exactly what city planning is requesting, okay?
And we're fine with that.
Okay, and then they had variance number 7. Are you proposing to change that?
Yes, so for variance number 7, which is the canopy setback, we will be reducing from 1.09 meters to 1.14 meters on the west side.
Okay. And variance number 10 was the lot
So for-
coverage. which
Correct.
was-
So for variance number 10, we will be reducing from 33.17 to 33.05.
Okay, 33.05. Okay, thank you. And I just wanted to note that the report also stated that should the committee see merit in the application, staff were recommending that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan, basement floor, ground floor, second floor, west elevation, and east elevation drawings submitted to the committee and date stamped as received on November 17th as attachments 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 to that particular report. So I just wanted to make sure you're aware of that.
Yes, all of these changes are tied to that drawing set, and we're in full agreement with that condition.
Okay, if you could, Madam, if you could give us your brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your revised application.
Of course. May I please ask staff to open my supporting material? I submitted a document.
Okay, thank you.
Photos.
Okay, if you could proceed, Madam.
Sure. Thank you. The next page is the site plan. So this is a proposal for a new single-family residence in the Clanton Park neighborhood for a family that has lived in this neighborhood for over 10 years, and they plan to make this their forever home. Can you go to the next slide, please? This is a neighborhood that has undergone a significant amount of change in recent years. There are new homes at regular intervals throughout all of the streets and lots of construction underway. Today, we're seeking 13 variances to the bylaws. However, if I may, I'd also like to address the letter from Urban Forestry now that we've addressed the conditions from planning. This house is the result of an extremely collaborative process with all of the interested parties. We started our conversations with Urban Forestry in July and modified the design of the house as a result. Originally, the plans were to excavate below the entire rear patio. You can actually go back to the site plan on slide 2, coming very close to the second Siberian elm tree on the west side there. But on the recommendations of Urban Forestry, we pulled back this excavated area and we now plan to save one of the 2 Siberian elm trees. I will note that per the arborist report, both Siberian elms were assessed as being in fair to poor health, and Urban Forestry agrees with this assessment. We submitted an application to injure and remove back in September, and they're basically just waiting on that application to see the outcome of today's hearing. With planning, we actually went through 5 rounds of revisions, and after the 4th revision, we obtained a new zoning notice, which reflects the 13 variances you originally have in front of you. However, planning came back to us a couple of weeks ago and requested those 3 minor changes we just reviewed, which are outlined in their letter. And as we just discussed and agreed, we are more than willing to comply with the November 17th drawing set that is attached to the staff report. I'd also like to bring your attention to 2 particular variances to explain them further. If you could jump to slide number 4, please. So for the front yard setback, thank you, the one just before here, 1 slide back. For the front yard setback, the front wall of the house is actually in line with the adjacent neighbor, setback at 6.73 meters. But the front yard setback is being calculated to an architectural feature wall, which is that little pink area that you see at the front. And this is where the 5.55 setback comes in. As you can see in this diagram, it's a small percentage of the front wall facade. Thank you. Yes, this was the diagram for that one. And now if you can jump ahead to slide 5. So this is the front yard setback. This one is for both the building length and depth variances. So from the front wall to the rear wall of the house, above grade, the bulk of the building length is actually 17.99 meters. But our ask today is 24.18 because there are two components that are adding to this technical variance. The feature wall on the front that I just spoke about is adding approximately 2 meters to the length. And then the basement extends beyond the rear wall of the ground floor to add another 2.97 meters below grade. And this is also referenced in the staff report. I will also add that we have 3 letters of support on file, and we received support from a 4th neighbor this morning, and we have no opposition from the neighborhood. I think that when you consider these variances in context, they're actually quite minor and consistent with the fabric of the neighborhood. And I believe that this application meets the 4 tests. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on our list. I have an Etan Weinberg. Are you there?
Mr. Chair and members, Etan is not present on the call.
Okay, thank you. That being the case, we have no other persons registered to speak. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Just to go through this again, please note that the applicant has modified their application pursuant to city planning's request so that variance number 2 for the proposed west side yard setback of 1.2 meters, which is currently listed in there, is being changed to 1.45 meters for the first 9.22 meters on the first and second floors and 1.22 meters towards the rear. The applicant is modifying variance number 7 for the proposed front canopy of 1.09 meters to 1.14 meters and is modifying variance number 10 for the proposed lot coverage of 33.17% to 33.05%. So if I could get a motion on this revised application, please. Ms. Sankar?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So in listening to what the applicant has said here today, I do believe that they meet the recommendations of the staff report. And so I'll put forward a motion to approve this application, make it subject to the amendments made pursuant to the staff recommendations of November 20th, 2020. And in addition, that the proposal again be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan basement floor, ground floor, second floor, west elevation and east elevation drawings that were submitted to the committee and also subject to forestry.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and committee. Stay safe and healthy, everyone.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a brief break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Thank you very much. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, committee is back in session. Ladies and gentlemen, committee is back in session. I'll move on to item number 11, 171 Owen Boulevard. I have 3 people registered to speak. The first is the agent, Mr. Masumi. Are you there, sir?
Yes, he's here.
Yes, hello, sir. I note that we have 2 other persons registered to speak, sir. I also note that there is a report from City Planning dated the 26th of November, which is recommending refusing variance number 1 regarding the building height, reducing variance number 4 regarding the building length from 24.17 meters to 21 meters or less, and reducing variance number 5 regarding the building depth from 24.34 meters to 23 meters or less. That looks like a substantial change to your application. Would you like to proceed with this application in light of planning's report, or would you like to defer it in order to discuss these changes with them?
Mr. Chairman, my name is Bill Ross, and I'm speaking on behalf of the owners. I have the owner and the agent with me here. So the answer to your question is we would like to go ahead with the application.
Okay. So
And I have some variances I wish to change.
okay, if you're proposing to make changes, if you could tell the committee what those changes are.
Okay, item number 1, which is the height. I want to change that to 10.5.
Hang on, which variance was that?
Number 1,
Okay, so you're changing the building height from which?
11.15
Okay,
to 10.5.
to 10.5?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's the next one?
The next one is item number 4.
Okay,
I'm changing that to 21 meters.
to which?
21 meters.
Okay, so from 24.17 meters to 21.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Item number 5,
okay,
I'm changing that to 23.
okay, changing it from 24.35 meters to
23.
23.
Yes.
Okay, are there any
And
other
item
changes?
number 7,
Okay,
I'm changing that to 9.7.
okay, the building height, you're changing from 10.02 meters to how much?
9.7.
9.7 meters. That's under the old North York bylaw.
Yes.
Okay, any further changes?
No.
Okay, so just to clarify, variance number 1, the proposed height of the building is 11.15 meters. That's being changed to 10.5 meters. Variance number 4, the proposed building length is 24.17 meters. That's being changed to 21 meters. Variance number 5, the proposed building depth is 24.35 meters. That's changing to 23 meters. And variance number 7, which is the old North York bylaw, the proposed building height is 10.02 meters, and that's changing to 9.7 meters. Did I get all those correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir, if you'd like to give the committee a brief justification for your application and especially the revisions you've made.
Yes. Okay. For for the application in general, we're reducing the height to 10.5 so that we can accommodate the windows at the top of our building. They're actually decorated dormers, and they're going into the sidewall of the. This house is a a classical French design where the roof doesn't have any eaves. The walls extend up a little bit past, and there's a parapet. At the front of the house, there's no rooms up in the area there. There's no third story here. It's just a straight two-story house. And we'd like to have the planning department has suggested that it be refused as far as the building height goes. But we would like to have some small dormers across the front because that's the style of the building. That's the way it looks, and it's designed that way. So we have lowered the height from 11.15 down to 10.5. So in reality, we're only asking for a variance of about 1 foot 8 inches in extra height. Now we're dealing with the height of all sides, exterior side walls, and that's for 7.81 where 7.5 is required. It's an extra foot. And it's basically the parapet that extends above the side wall. Seeing there are no eaves, there's a parapet there and it extends up, and it just maintains the water running off the roof with a gutter inside it and so on. And that's the reason we're asking for the extra height from the side wall. Planning department has no objection to that. Item number 3 is basically the same as just the other side. The building length we changed to accommodate the planner at the city, and the building depth we changed to accommodate what she's looking for there. Both of those items in the report states that they're common with the new houses that are being built in the area. Number 6 is just a minor variance with regards to the width of the front porch. You want to have the step go across the full front porch instead of stopping it at 2 meters. We're looking at 4.13 of a meter difference. And the building height is reduced because I reduced the height of the overall building to 10.5. And that's why I changed that dimension, because the roof actually comes down lower.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So I would mention that this is a fairly long lot. It's like 180 feet deep. We comply with side yards to both sides. We comply with coverage. We comply with the front yard setback. And basically, we think all of the variances comply with the intent of the bylaw with relationship to the building length and so on.
Okay, thank you,
If
sir.
there's any further questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to our next person on the list. I have a Patrick Sue. Are you there? Patrick Sue, are you there? One more time. Patrick Sue, are you there? We'll come back to him. I have one person, just their first name. William, are you there?
Mr. Chair, the person going by William has not called in.
Okay. We'll go back to Patrick Sue. Are you there, sir?
Go ahead, Mr. Sue. You're
Yes,
live.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. Can I get your full name and address,
Can you hear
please?
me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Can I get your full name and address, please? Mr. Sue, can I get your full name and address, please?
Mr. Sue, you are live and we can hear you, so please go ahead and speak.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Sue, can you proceed? Mr. Sue, we can hear you. Mr. Sue, are you there? Can you hear us? Mr. Sue, are you there? I'll give you one more time, then I'm going to have to cut you off. Mr. Sue, are you there?
Mr. Sue, you are live, you are present, and you are unmuted. Please speak if you have something that you'd like to say.
Okay, no, he's not. Okay. We'll take him off the list. We have no persons registered to speak on this item. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Please note that there were revisions made to the application. I have stated that at the beginning. I'm not going to go through them again, but those changes have been made, requested by the applicant. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, and just to, in case Mr. Sue didn't think we understood his concerns, I did read his letter of objection, so I'm considering that in my decision-making. I do believe that the applicant has made necessary changes to the application to address many of those concerns, as well as the concerns of the staff report of November 26th. So I'll put forward a motion to approve this application with the amendments made today pursuant by the applicant to address the November 26th staff report. And that's my motion.
It's also an urban forestry condition as well. Okay, someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application has been approved, subject to urban forestry conditions. We're now on item number 12, 20 Bayview Ridge Crescent. I have one person registered to speak. That is the agent, Christopher Marchese. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here, Sir Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. I just wanted to ask, I have, there's a report from Transportation Services dated the 23rd of November. They have no objection to your application. I note that there's a report from City Planning dated the 26th of November, indicating they have no objection provided that your proposal is developed substantially in accordance with the side exterior main wall heights as seen on the side elevation drawings attached to their report, and the second floor is stepped back further from the side yard lot lines than the ground floor as seen on the front elevation drawing attached to their report. Have you had the opportunity to read those two reports, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I have had a chance to review both those reports and deem all information within and any conditions acceptable. I just want to make the committee aware that there is an urban forestry condition recommending deferral.
Yes, and I was going to ask you about that. Would you like to defer the application to deal with the urban forestry? They had some about a potential impact on bylaw protected trees.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I'm of the opinion that the application is capable of being heard today. I've worked closely with planning staff and transportation staff and attempted to reach out to urban forestry. Urban Forestry advised me that comments would be provided on the application with an application formally, which was on November 27th, which is the deadline to submit any documents for this application. We've been in the queue since September 25th, 2020 to get scheduled. Any tree that is in question for this application will need a permit in order for this application to be ultimately approved and construction to take place. So I'm of the opinion that this application can be heard today. Standard conditions 1 through 3 can be added to deal with urban forestry concerns, even with an approval here today, following an approval here today.
Okay, thank you, sir. So you understand the risks of going forward. If there are objections from, if you run into problems with urban forestry, you could be before city community council.
Absolutely, and Mr. Chair, any approval with any city or private-owned tree that's within the regulated bylaw needs to obtain a permit to construct, and we're fully aware of that, and we are willing to work with urban forestry to satisfy any of their concerns.
Okay, thank you, sir. It's pretty clear what you're asking for in your application, sir. I'm just going to ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or would like a presentation? There being none, please note we have no other persons registered to speak on this item, so if I could get a motion on the application, please. Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I do believe that the application meets the four tests. I will motion to approve this application and make it subject to the November 26th staff report, which you have outlined earlier in this presentation, Mr. Chair. And I'll also subject it to forestry and the conditions that were in forestry.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and fellow committee members. Have a great day.
Thank you. Item number 13, 10 Cardiff Road. I have one person registered to speak. That is the agent, Josh Fletcher. Are you there, sir? Mr. Fletcher, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you, sir. You have one variance before us for a second-story rear setback on your deck. Pretty clear what you're asking for. I note that there are no comments from staff or any recommended conditions from staff. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or would like a presentation. There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's a very simple application and it's minor variances, so I would like to move it to be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Oh, no. Ms. Khan, yes, Ms. Sankar is in favor. That motion carries unanimously. Sir? No. Ms. Sankar, were you opposed? Oh, no, she was in favor. That motion carries unanimously.
I was in favor. I was just very slow.
Okay, thank you. That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 14, 148 Calvington Drive. I have one person registered to speak. That is a Nelson Boaventura. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
Yes, thank you, sir. I know that you've got two variances before us, and I think the committee's pretty clear on what you're asking for. There are no staff comments or recommended conditions from municipal agencies. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or if it would like a presentation. There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan? Mr. Khan, we can't hear you.
Thank you, sir. Sorry about that. I didn't turn the mute on. I would like to move it to be approved because it's a very simple and straightforward variance, and the application be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those favor? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, sir. Your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 15, 70 Craigmore Crescent. I have one person registered to speak, a Manjit Mangat. Are you there?
Sir, I am. Hear me?
Mr. Mangat, could I get your full name and address, please?
Manjit Singh Mangat, 70 Craigmore Crescent.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask if you've had the opportunity to read the city planning report dated the 20th of November. They indicate that they have no objections to your application, provided that the proposal is developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment attached as attachment number 1 to their report. Have you had the opportunity to read that report, sir?
I don't know, but it sounds good. No.
So we're having trouble hearing you. Your voice is breaking up.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, we have you have one variance before us. It's related to a front yard setback. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or would like a presentation. Please note that no one else is registered to speak on this item. If I could get a motion on the application, please. Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe that this application is very straightforward, and I believe it meets the 4 tests under the zoning bylaw, so I would recommend acceptance.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second. Oh, it's subject to city planning condition.
Yes, sorry. I'm right, as you identified.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second Mr. Hunt's motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to city planning condition.
Chairman,
Thank you. Item number 16, 135 Laurelcrest Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. Abhijan Jamali, are you there?
Morning, Chair. Yes, I'm here.
Yes, hello, sir. I wanted to ask, there are a couple of reports here. I wanted to find out if you've read them. There's one from Transportation Services dated the 27th of November. They indicate that they have no objection to the application, provided you add a notation on your site plan drawing that states all portions of existing site access driveways that are no longer required must be closed and restored with soft landscaping and full concrete curbs to the satisfaction of Transportation Services. And City Planning had a report that states that they have no objection to your application, provided that the proposal is developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing and side elevation west drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment attached as attachment 1 and 2 to their report. Did you have an opportunity to look at those 2 reports, sir? Sir, are you there? Mr. Jamali, are you there?
Mr. Jamali, please do not
I'm
mute
here.
and unmute yourself. I will be responsible for doing that.
Mr. Jamali, are you there?
I am here, but it.
Yes, Mr. Jamali, have you read those 2 reports from Transportation Services and City Planning?
Mr.
Yes, I have
Jamali,
read.
please do not mute yourself or unmute yourself. I will be responsible for that.
Okay, okay.
Mr.
Yes,
Jamali,
I have
did you
read.
read those 2 reports?
Yes, I have read.
Okay, thank you. It's pretty clear what you're asking for in the variances we have before us. I note that there's 4 of them, but they're pretty clear in what you're asking for. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or would like a presentation. Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the applicant, I noticed on the file there was one concern expressed regarding the visual impact of the deck. Have you had an opportunity to speak to your neighbor about this?
Yes, I did. I discussed with her and I assured her that I have no deck and no side door on the east side, which is concerned. My deck is on the west side and I don't have side door.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Could I get a motion on this application, please? Please note that I have no other persons registered to speak on it. Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the proposed variances are minor in nature, and I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application subject to the planning staff condition that you previously read into the record and subject to the transportation services condition that you had previously noted, and also subject to forestry condition.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Some of Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry, transportation services, and city planning conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of committee.
Thank you. Item number 17, 79 Blythewood Road. I have one person registered to speak. That is Andy Nasser. I hope you're there, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. Are you there, sir? Mr. Nasser, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you, sir. Thank you. I
Great,
just
thank you.
wanted to ask, sir, if you have had the opportunity to read the city planning report dated the 16th of November. They indicate that they have no objections to your application, provided that the 21-meter length applies only to the first floor to accommodate the one-story sunroom addition. The second floor of the dwelling should comply with bylaw requirements. Have you had the opportunity to read that report?
I have.
Okay, and you're aware of what it says?
Yes, and we've revised the plans accordingly. So it's 21-meter length.
Okay, thank you. I notice you have 4 variances before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. There are no other persons registered to speak on the item. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or would like a presentation. Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Nasser, I would draw your attention towards variance number 3. Sir, you are asking floor space index quite high, 0.53, while you are only allowed 0.35 times the lot area. Why you are asking that?
It's a heritage street. So the 0.35 is still quite small relative to the size of the lot. It's 175 feet in length. So as it stands, there's quite a significant, it's a very long backyard. And the existing floor space is not 0.35, it's 0.46, which was a variance that was granted in the Committee of Divestment when we renovated the house about a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago, 18 months ago.
Okay, and the increase, sir, is because of the sunroom addition, correct?
Exactly, only the sunroom addition.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chair, if I would like to rehear, what is it 0.53 or you have modified it?
No, he's not.
No, it is 0.
Sorry? Mr. Nasser?
Oh, sorry, were you talking to me? I'm sorry, I can't hear you that well.
Okay, Mr. Khan.
So what is it now?
Mr. Khan, can you repeat your question?
Sir, my question is to Mr. Nasser, what is the present floor space index at the moment?
It's the present floor space index is 0.46 roughly, and the proposal is 0.53.
It's 0.46 is the existing FSI, and he's requesting an increase to 0.53.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions of the speaker? Can I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I accept the explanations provided here by the agent today, and so I will move to approve this application, and I'll make it subject to the November 16th staff condition around the 21-meter length applied only to the first floor to accommodate the one-story sunroom addition. The second floor of the dwelling should comply with the bylaw requirements. And that's my motion.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Yes, sir. Item number 18, 7 Winston Park Boulevard. I have 2 people registered to speak. The agent is Mr. Eddie Perez. Sir, are you there?
Hello, good morning, Chairman and committee members. I'm here.
Thank you, sir. If you could, we have one other person registered to speak, Mr. Perez. So if you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal. I note that there are no comments or recommended conditions from city staff.
Yeah, okay. We went a few months back, we went to see the property, and this accessory building garage was already existing. So I had told the owner that he wouldn't comply with the building zoning. So I told him we would have to go to Committee of Adjustment to get it approved. So we're before you trying to get approved a structure that's already existing. It has the eaves that are right on the property line. And I saw the neighbor's letter pertaining to the gutter. We are willing to take the gutter and move it to the back so it would discharge on the backyard instead of on the side. So we would eliminate that issue with the water being on the neighbor's property. And we're just proposing to maintain something that was built without permits, and the variances that we're requesting are minor in nature, and they meet the 4 tests. The only thing is that the owner had done it without permits, and planning has no issues with the proposal.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll just ask the committee, does it have any questions or comments of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. Mark Dodaro, are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Mr. Dodaro, are you there?
Yes.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
It's Mark Dodaro, address 36 Crossburn Drive, Toronto, Ontario, M3B 2Z2.
Okay, thank you, sir. Could I get your comments on this application?
Yes. So good morning, Mr. Chair and the committee. My name is Mark Dodaro. I'm representing my father, Ernest Dodaro, who owns the property at 9 Winston Park Boulevard, which is the neighboring property to the west, adjacent to the subject property. The proposed application before you this morning poses several different challenges and issues with regards to the way it was built, construction quality, the fact that it was done without permits, without oversight by a city inspector. As a result, it was overbuilt in terms of its floor area, height, no regard for setbacks from the property boundaries, and a blatant disregard for how it would affect the neighboring property now and in the future. Our family has full intention to develop a new home on 9 Winston Park Boulevard, as our lot is regular, without encumbrances, and no obstacles to constructing a new home. After consulting with our architect and builder, the construction of this illegal garage will not only cause obstacles to move forward with the most simplest of designs and cause unnecessary expense. Our consultant specifically outlined that in accordance with the bylaw, any structure over 100 square feet or 10 square meters requires a minimum setback from the property line of approximately 1.8 meters, which currently it is not. As per the application, it's currently set back a mere 12 inches from the property line. The awning and eaves encroach to the property line, as discussed. In this case, any future development or construction on our side of the property is negatively impacted, as well as the value of the property would be negatively impacted. We would need additional shoring, at the angle of repose, which would need an estimated cost of anywhere between $15,000 and $25,000. This expense we would never have to have incurred if it was built properly and in accordance with the bylaws. Furthermore, there is an additional structure that was added to the rear of the garage, which now forms an even larger floor plate, which is not included in the drawings put forth today. Pictures of the structure were sent into the Committee of Adjustments, and you can plainly see them on Google Maps overhead view. The issues that were mentioned were most concerning to us, but in addition to what I've mentioned already, there are other concerns I'd like to point out. One is the water egress from the 2 additional eaves troughs. They were installed 6 inches from the property line, and it creates a swamp-like river in my father's backyard. The second issue is the west side of the structure was not finished. The 3 sides of the structure are finished in brick, and frankly, it's an eyesore to look at. And because a permit was never granted and no elevation drawings provided, there's no accountability to finish this side as the side that faces our house rather. In summary, we feel strongly is that the approach taken by our neighbor to build first and ask for permission after the structure was built is not only abusing the system, our system, the way it works, it abuses our system the way it works and is bullying the neighborhood in order to achieve what he initially set out to do. And the other question would be, if this structure is approved on this basis, what precedent is this setting for future developments requiring permits in the neighborhood? Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee.
Okay, just to state, sir, that the committee doesn't deal in precedents. Every applicant who comes before us has to stand or fall on the basis of their own argument, not on what exists in the neighborhood. I'll just ask the committee, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, we'll go back to Mr. Perez. Mr. Perez, you've heard the comments. If you'd like to respond, please.
Yeah, hello again. As per the point the gentleman was saying that we didn't include the back portion, the back portion is on the drawings. As you can see, it's showing the garage in the front, and then the frame portion is showed at the back. It is on the drawings. We did show it, and it was too bad that it was already built. But we could have built the garage a little further back, and we wouldn't be before you, and then gone over a little. But because the garage was already built, this is what our hand was dealt with, and we are willing to take the gutter, and we'll make sure discharge all onto the neighbor's property. I can indicate it on the drawings when we go for building permits, and you can put it as a condition, and so that it wouldn't discharge any water onto the neighbors. Also, as per the concrete block, if the neighbors like, I can have the client finish it with stucco finish, so you have a nicer finish on that side. I can assure you that the client will be willing to do that as well. So that instead of seeing blocks, he'll be seeing a nice stucco wall.
Okay.
That's another thing we can add to it if we have no
Mr.
problems
Perez,
with that.
I just wanted to ask, when I was out looking at the neighborhood, I noticed that there are a number of garages that are on the street that are situated in the same location as your client's is, which is at the end of their driveway. That's not an unusual configuration for this neighborhood.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
We're 1.46 instead of 1.8 from the house. That's what creates one of the variances. And all the variances that we're asking for are minor in nature.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions of the speaker? Mr. Hunt?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Can you tell me how long after the original garage was constructed that the add-on was?
I think it was pretty, maybe a couple of months later. I couldn't tell you 100% because I never asked the owner that.
And
just went there, and it was all existing when I arrived, and I measured it, and everything was built per code. The blocks went down 4 feet, and it's at the frost line. Everything was nicely built, 8-inch concrete block. The roof was all built properly according to code. And as per the back addition, I'm not 100% sure, so I can't tell you on that 100%.
Okay, and was there a permit for the addition to the garage?
There was no permit for either the garage or the portion at the back.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Khan, you have a question?
Yes, sir, I do. Thank you very much. Sir, my question is about your variance number 2. You know, you're very close, your ancillary structure is close to the building, and that is a very concerning thing, that you are not meeting the minimum of, which is 1.8 meter. You are 1.46. I mean, you are not even complying with the minimum requirement, and that's a big concern because your ancillary structure is very close to the main building. That is my big concern.
But as per the proximity of the garage, the way the door is positioned, the owner has enough room to put the car in and out of the garage with no difficulty whatsoever. The garage door is pushed to the side, and the car fits no problems. It doesn't affect entrance or any impact on when the gentleman's parking the car.
Well, sir, I have to tell you that it is not before us, but when you have already built and when you will go for building permit, you will have a problem.
Well, it's not an unusual situation. I know it should have been 1.8, but the difference is only 34 centimeters, which is barely over a foot. It is what it is now. I can't, I agree with you. It would have been nice if they had put a 1.8, but what's existing at this point is 1.46, and it's only a 34 centimeter difference of what the bylaw requires, the zoning bylaw.
Thank you.
Thank
sir.
you.
Any further questions
You're
of the
welcome.
speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt?
Mr. Chairman, having listened to the applicant and the explanation that, or the answers to the questions I asked, and also the concerns expressed by the immediate neighbor, I have difficulty in believing that this should be approved. So I'm going to move that this application be denied.
Someone to second Mr. Hunt's motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? There's a tie. I'm going to have to break that tie. I can't support Mr. Hunt's motion. I've been out to the neighborhood. I don't find anything unusual about the setback of the proposed garage or the existing garage from any other garages that are in this neighborhood. I can see the difficulty it would be in trying to move that garage further away from the lot line in order to get access to it for your vehicle, which would make it more difficult, or having to move it even further into the backyard, which is not a typical condition in this neighborhood. I appreciate the concerns of the neighbor with regard to stormwater management, but that's something that the applicant has to comply with as part of getting getting a building permit to legalize this application. We've already heard from Mr. Perez that they're prepared to take whatever measures are necessary in order to make sure that stormwater does not go on to the neighbor's property. So I'm going to not support that motion. Could I get another motion? And I'm going to move that the motion be approved. And can I get another motion? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It does concern me that this has been built without a permit, and but having said that, I do feel that it is appropriate for the neighborhood and can be considered as the variances can be considered as minor. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application without
Someone to
condition.
second Mr. Kidd's motion? Sankar seconds. Opposed? Mr. Khan and Mr. Hunt opposed, and I'll support that motion I'll support Mr. Kidd's motion, so that motion carries. Sir, your application has been approved. I'll just check here. I think there are no staff conditions. Your application has been approved without condition. Thank you very much, sir. Item number 19, 182 Lord Seaton Road. I have one person registered to speak. That's Mengdi Zen. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Sir, can I get your full name and address, please?
Mengdi Zheng, 182 Lost Seaton Road.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just wanted to ask, you have three variances before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. There are no staff comments or recommended conditions. I'll just ask, and there is no one else registered to speak on this item, so I'll just ask, does the committee have any questions or comments, or would it like a presentation? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. It's a very simple variances and minor in nature. So I would like to move it to be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that motion. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much. Item
Thank you.
number 20, 16 Tetbury Crescent. I have one person registered to speak. That's Nilofar Soltani. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, it's Nilofar Soltani from KH Davis Engineering, 1468 Danforth Avenue.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam, I note that there are no staff comments or conditions related to this application. I have no other persons registered to speak on it. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or it would like a presentation. No, could I get Mr. Cullen?
Thank you, sir. Madam, my question is about a rear platform. You're asking 22 meters square against the 4 meters square required. Why you want so big?
Okay, the basement here is being counted by zoning as first floor. That's why the deck is being located at the second floor. So we're not proposing any decks or platform on first floor, and they're all only in the second floor. So that's just their rear yard deck that is that size. So it's not technically a balcony, it's just their deck. So it's just a technical variance in nature.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Any further questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I accept that explanation provided by the agent here today. So I'll put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
Thank you, madam. Can I have someone second that motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Hunter, are you in favor? I've lost your video. Mr. Hunt's, we've lost him. So anyway, we have enough for quorum. That motion. Well, Mr. Hunt, were you in favor? Yes. Okay. Thank you. That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now on item number 21. That is 24 Shouldes Court. I have 3 people registered to speak. The agent is an Ali Shakiri. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Shakiri, could we have 2 other persons registered to speak? So if you could give us a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal. Please note that there are no comments or recommended conditions from staff on your application.
Thank you, sir. So it's a single dwelling. As you can see, we are asking to increase the coverage slightly to 32.5%. There is a variance for the wall height. That's for the east side only. And that's only for the window, actually, not for the entire wall. Actually, east and west side for the windows, not for the entire wall. And there is a slight increasing of the building height under the old bylaw. That's only 10 centimeters. So I assume it's very straightforward. Basically the side yards actually are more than what the bylaw requires. It's at 6 foot a minimum, but we are more than 6 foot on the side yards by about like 30 centimeters. So I find it very straightforward, but if there is any question, I'd be more than glad to answer.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions of the speaker? Being none, I'll go to our first registered speaker. I have Melanio Cattery. Are you there? Melanio Cattery, are you there? Melanio Cattery, are you there? I'll come back to you. I have a Linda Goldberger. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, hi, madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Linda Goldberger, 26 Shoaldice Court.
Okay, thank you,
the
madam.
next door-
If you could give us
Okay.
your views on this application?
I was only given this application. I haven't been spoken to at all by the powers that be in terms of the architects or whatever. But my concern is that if they're supposed to be 30% coverage, I don't feel comfortable it's going up to 32.5. Each variant seems to be taken advantage of, and just thought that's my only complaint.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the speaker? I'll go back to
No.
our previous registered deputant, Melanio Catry. Are you there?
Mr. Chair and members, they are present. They are unmuted, so they are able to speak right now.
Melanio Catry, are you there? Can you hear us? Melanio Catry, are you there? Can you hear us? One more time and then that's it. Melanio Catry, are you there? Okay, take them off. Take them off, Elizabeth.
Mr. Chair, they are there, but it's very faint. Melanio, if you can speak much louder or find a way to get yourself closer to the microphone, that would be great.
Melanio Catry, can you hear us?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Hi. Yes, can you hear me?
Barely. Can you speak into your, turn off your speakerphone and just speak into your phone?
Oh, okay.
No, Melanio, we can hear you. If you can just speak loud
One
and
second, I'm
enunciate.
just trying to get my phone. I'm trying to get my phone to work here.
No,
That's better.
no, Melanio, what you have going now is very good.
Okay.
Okay, sir, can you give us
All
your
right,
views
hello?
on this application?
Yes, so our concern is that the house is uphill from ours and the street's on a slope. And the concern is that by moving the foundation closer to us, it's going to cause water problems. We already have water problems. We've had to rebuild the foundation on that side of our house because of water leakage. And so our concern is that moving that foundation closer to us might cause us more problems in the future.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Hello?
Yes. Hello, sir, are you there?
Yes, was that clear?
Yes, but you have to speak up, sir.
Yes, so the issue is that we've had water leakage problems in the past on that side, beside 24 Shoaldice. So we've had to rebuild the foundation because of water leakage. We've had to reinforce the waterproofing. And so our concern is that if the basement foundation of 24 Shoaldice gets moved closer to us, it's going to cause us further water problems in the future.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions of the
Okay,
speaker?
thank you.
I'll go back to Mr. Shakiri. Are you there, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you. While I was listening to the comments by the neighbors, my colleagues are actually telling me that there is an inconsistency between the public notice and the waiver that we submitted. And that's why actually I was a little bit puzzled a few moments ago. So we have asked for a front yard variance as one of our variances under the waiver. So that variance is changed with the sidewall. So that variance number 3, while it's showing the correct section, no, actually it doesn't even show the correct section number. So variance number 3 is changed. I don't know why, but it's not reflecting the waiver that we submitted. So in that case, I'm not sure if we can change it on the floor here, or do we have
Okay,
to
hang on a second,
defer?
sir. Are you proposing to change variance number 3?
Yes, we had asked that our variance number 3 under the waiver was the front yard of 7.5 meters, whereas the minimum required is 7.82. When I read the variance number 3 here, is not showing that, and that variance is nowhere else on this notice. So I think there is some discrepancy between the variances that we requested.
I'll just going to Mr. Lamb. It looks like there's an error on the notice.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we'll have to defer this.
We'll have to
New
defer
public
it.
notice.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay,
In that,
Mr. Shakiri, thanks for pointing that out. Unfortunately, will have to defer this application because it will have to be revised and will have to be recirculated. Okay, there's an error. There's an error on the notice.
Sure. In that case, may I please ask if it's possible for the panel to accommodate me on the next hearing, which is going to be on January?
I can't do that, sir. We can state the next available hearing, and Mr. Lamb will do his best to get you scheduled as soon as possible. But I can't give you a date. Okay. Committee, you've heard that there's an error on this notice. We're going to have to defer the application. It will have to be revised and recirculated. Could I hope that the two speakers, I'll just ask them again. Mr. Catry, you've heard there's an error on the notice. We'll have to recirculate, so this application is going to be deferred. Do you have any objection to that?
Not at all.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Goldberger, you've heard that there's an error on the application. It will have to be recirculated. Do you have an objection to that?
No, I don't have an objection.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Committee, could I get a motion on this deferral request? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Given the circumstances, I would move to defer this sine die to the next available hearing date.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second. Pardon me? Okay, Mr. Hunt, we'll just need the reason, which is, of course, the reason is
the reason being that to allow the applicant to discuss a concern regarding the original.
Mr. Hunt, he has to revise the application. There's an error on it.
Okay.
All right.
To revise the application because of an error.
Thank you. Someone to second Mr. Hunt's motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Yes, thank you. That motion carries. Mr. Shakiri, your application's been deferred to the next available meeting so that you can revise the application and it can be recirculated to the neighbors. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that ends our morning session. We are deferred until 1:30. We'll see you then.